Right.
And we're live. Beat you to it.
Wow.
John looks like one of those videos on TV where they like mask your voice and have you sit as a silhouette.
was doing this,
Yeah.
and then
I don't know why it's so dark in this room.
It's
like
the
Because
it's
of
the light.
backlight.
It's backlit. You're backlit, John.
you got to
Oh,
move your camera so
it's
that we don't
because
see the
I'm back.
window.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This is what I will do for you. I will sit on the other side of this.
Oh,
this
look
card.
at
Wow, amazing.
that. Wait, are you working at a card table now?
Yeah.
But he's moving. I mean, he doesn't
Nice.
own anything, and he's moving.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There we go. Oh, that's
There.
much better.
That's a
Look
lot
at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The power of light.
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I need to send you a shirt with my logo on it so that when you move your laptop, I get a free ad.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah.
We need to make a
yeah.
Watch Me Go shirt just for John.
There you go. Yeah, with a discount code on it.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. That way you can track it.
A Bitly URL there.
Yeah.
Totally. So in my latest adventures in crochet, I made the Kindle UI mascot.
Nice.
That's pretty sweet.
I think
Yep.
you need to open an Etsy shop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except they would cost like $300 each.
You need to like go into business with someone's grandma.
just have her make them all.
Yeah, it'll be like Happy Gilmore. and
Exactly. Well, guess what, Grandma? Now your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled garden duty.
That doesn't look like a Kendo UI guy. That'd be
Fun.
great.
Derek's like, why do my subscribers keep going down?
I'm crocheting. What you don't like the? I mean, I made a Kendo UI. I made a BB-8. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, but seriously, it's been pretty frustrating seeing my subscribers dropping like flies. I'm down to like 388 right now.
But your income has been going up, so
It did last month. That was the interesting part because a
Yeah.
number of people did sign up for the yearly subscriptions. So if
Oh,
I
I see.
can
So that'll be
maintain a few people a month, I think I had 4 people last month sign up for that. So if I can maintain that rate, then the income might not be so bad.
well,
But the
yeah. What you need to do though, like for the accounting, is that's like a prepaid.
yeah.
So if you like, the revenue you'd divide it out, and then that would be the number for. But then
Yeah.
you've got guaranteed revenue from that. So I don't know. I mean, so I guess if you did it that way, then I didn't realize that you just took it as cash. But
Yeah,
if you
that's
continue to get
that's the
funds,
only way I can do it at this
Yeah.
point. I don't have a real accounting software set up yet, which is one of the things I need to do this year.
Yeah.
But I did get my taxes done and turned into my CPA today, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yay.
Yay! Got it to them a week early, which is, I think, the soonest I've ever had it to them. Last year I got it to them on the deadline date, and then years prior to that, like the 5 years prior to that, I had always got it to them late, so they always had to file extensions for me.
Nice.
So I'm improving.
Yay.
But on the subject of Watch Me Code, talking to another designer who's going to help me out with getting the site moving forward again in terms of landing pages and copy and logo updates and all the other things that I've been needing to do. So since I got all of the structure in place to be able to manage the episodes and series as custom post types in WordPress, I was trying to put together some mock-ups myself of how I wanted the pages to look, including an emphasis on the ability to buy a series if you're not a subscriber, and take the series as a downloads with you if you are a subscriber, and all these different things that I need to emphasize in the episode series. And I realized that I suck at design. So I sent out a tweet last week. It got forwarded around a few times, and I got connected with a designer that's done some really good work for other education-based developer info product sites. So which the proposal looks pretty good in terms of budget and what she's going to be doing. So now it's just a question of digging into the details with her and seeing what she comes back with in terms of design and all that. So hopefully that'll be a good thing. I don't expect that to solve all my problems, but it'll definitely help. It'll get things moving forward again, and it'll take a lot of the burden of creating the designs off of my shoulders, which is a huge relief for me. But I still want to take some of the advice that we've talked about countless times with me on doing something else, something new and different to try and drive new audience. And I need to sit down really and just write out that list of here's all the things that I can do and just start going down the list and doing them and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm at that point where I know that if I just keep tweaking and tinkering and doing things the way I have been, it's not going to get any better. It's just going to kind of maintain for a while. And maybe my subscriber count will start growing again with all the new email list subscribers that I've been getting lately, but I can't really wait that long to see. There's too much risk in just waiting. I have to do something else.
What's the design going to cost you, the new design?
4,500, I think, is what the quote said. So that'll include a full week of research. Hold on, let me pull this back up. Where's those 3 high-level things? Where'd it go?
I'm just
Here it
wondering if
is.
you should invest in the design at this point. Like, I don't know if that's the thing that's going to give you. I mean, you're functional. Like, I agree that the design could be improved, but
Yeah,
wondering
and
if
I'm not looking at the design as a way to increase the subscribers. I'm looking at it more as I'm going to do this work anyways, and I'm either going to spend my time on it and probably do a half-ass job, or I can pay somebody else to do it who will do it better and faster.
but
So
yeah.
it's for me it's one of those things where I can invest this money in somebody else doing that work so that I can go do the real work that needs to be done, which is more the guest posting or figuring out how to set up webinar kind of things.
But do you need to even do the design yourself if you're not going to have someone do it? I mean, you've got functional, like, if you don't see a return on investment in what you're doing, then you should probably not do it yet. And just, I mean, I'm not saying don't ever update the design,
Mhm.
but if you don't think it's really actually going to improve sales to the point that it's going to pay for itself, it seems like you could better spend that money somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you got to maybe ask yourself the question: are you doing it because you want it to look good, or because that looking good will be functional for conversion to sale? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you have enough indicators to really say at this point that the design. I just don't want to see you waste money on something that's
Right.
that's not going to really increase your bottom line.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. I see what you're saying there. And I expect it to help. I'm not sure how much it will help. I mean, I do have a history of spending money on customer research and all this kind of stuff and not using it to its
Yeah.
full extent. So there's certainly a lot that I could have done with previous efforts along these fronts. Probably what I'm going to do is when I talk to her this afternoon is have them break down the proposal into budgeted items into individual budgeted items. Like right now they have kind of just a full price for everything, and I would like to probably have them break it down into what is it going to cost just to do the research that they want to do and the design mock-ups based on that research, and pay for that and see if it's something that I think is gonna be worth it afterwards.
Yeah, I honestly I agree with John. I think your time would be better served really connecting with your subscribers and figuring out, what it is that keeps them paying for it, keeps them coming back.
Right.
See if you can double down on it. See if you can get the sort of language that they're using to explain why, and then either go out and do like a podcast appearance tour, or go out and double down on your blog on those areas that are really paying off, or doing the things where you have a reasonable expectation of getting that payoff, because your the work that you're doing and the things that you're hearing from the people that you're connecting with are the things that are going to work for you, because that's what they're telling you they want.
Right, and a big part of what this proposal includes is that user research. So I've got research that Momoko did for me previously, and so I can play off of that some, and I want to see this second opinion on the users as well. I want updated research basically to be able to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But there are some legit features that I really do need in the website as well, like the ability to play videos within the series page, because right now it's a pain in the butt to go back and forth between the series and the episode in order to play the individual episode. That's a very common complaint that I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
But you could fix that yourself without design.
Yeah.
We've seen you make this mistake before, Derek. We're starting off really gently, but we're going to get rough in a second here. Don't do the design, Derek. Not yet.
I mean, the thing is I understand why it feels good. If you feel like you're doing something, you feel like you're contributing in an area that, you've gotten a little bit of feedback on maybe, but honestly, I mean, you're spending, let's say you make $2,500, you're spending basically a month and 2/3 worth of revenue on this, and I just don't know if you're ever going to see it back. But if you're actually getting in and figuring out what people want, what people need, and the language you need to actually tell them how to get in, your design's fine. And so you should be able to then figure out where you need to be putting the messaging out there to get people to join your mailing list, or whatever other funnels you have to bring people in to watch me code.
You've got a working funnel right now. Like a year ago, that wasn't really the case, right? You didn't really have something in place that you felt confident was working,
right.
And so I think I personally think your best bet is to flush a whole bunch more traffic through that funnel, and then when you do that, you'll be able to actually measure the impact of design later. Right now, you're not getting enough traffic. Like, it would take you 6 months to test a design change to have any confidence that it would even be better. But if your traffic was doubled, you could test faster.
Yeah, but I'd have to 10x my traffic to really be able to test it fast enough to know.
And that would be about the point when that design budget would, in my opinion, be reasonable, because then if you're 10xing your traffic, you'd at least be 5xing your revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand where you're coming from. I've done this type of thing myself, where I invest a lot of money in something, like my server, getting my server, and it's like some part of it's just like the desire to be tidy. Like, there were just a bunch of, on my server, there was just like a bunch of crap going on that I knew that was bothering me, and it wasn't hurting my revenue at all, but it just bugged the heck out of me. So I spent a bunch of money on it, and well, it's gone. Didn't get anything out of it, but I don't know. I don't think it's not going to help you much right now. You'd have to get and keep at least 40 new subscribers out of this for a year, over the next year. Like, you'd have to increase your subscriber base by 10% for this to break even.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure that's going to happen, but...
Well, I guess another way to look at it, too, is, I mean, where else could you use that money if you did, like if you have $4,500 budgeted, is there somewhere else that you could potentially use the money that would have you a higher return? I mean, even if we just said paid advertising.
Paid advertising does not work for me. I have wasted tens of thousands of dollars on paid advertising.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the case. I'm just saying that I think that that would have a higher payoff than the design change, because it would bring in, like, I mean, I don't know if it's going to bring in a lot of subscribers, but it would bring in
Zero.
some. Well, I think if you well spent $4,500, I mean, that $4,500 could also involve hiring someone to help set up campaigns, and it could get, I don't know, I mean, it's not a huge budget, but I'm just saying,
Hmm.
like, but there's probably other things too.
Suggestions? Because I'm all ears.
Well, how about paying for content creation too? You could do that.
I've thought about that a number of times, and that gets really difficult really quickly. Because then you got most people looking for royalties. The people that are worth bringing on are going to be looking at royalties and not one-time payments.
You
And
mean
I
for
don't have the setup to do royalties, and I don't want to build it. That is a giant load of work that I'm not prepared to do at this point. I don't have a proper accounting system, first off, and I don't have a way to track what it would take to do royalties properly yet.
Well, you don't necessarily have to do. When I'm talking about content creation, also I was thinking about blog content creation
Hmm.
or
Okay.
YouTube content creation, something that would be more like just to be at the front end of your funnel to attract people. Um, I'm trying to think what else, like, or maybe some research on SEO keywords that you could write blog posts on, or have someone write blog posts on that would pull in people that are going to be looking for your content.
Yeah, I mean, is that something that developers are really going to latch onto, though? I mean, doing research on keywords and then writing a blog post just for the sake of those keywords seems very counter to what I'm trying to do with my blog and with Watch Me Code.
Well, it still has to be compatible or compatible. It has to be competent writing, right? It can't
Yeah,
just be, you know,
I
keyword
mean,
stacking.
I,
But
I'm
at the
not
same
gonna
time,
I'm
but
not
at the
gonna
same
hire
time,
a bunch of. Sorry, go ahead.
if you do the research, you find that a lot of people are searching for, some terms along with JavaScript, and you actually do have something you can write for it, then you know it's going to drive more traffic when Google actually finds it because it's optimized for those keywords and it's a great blog post. And
Yeah.
if you have both of those things working for it, then you'll up your traffic, and then you can feed more information into that pipeline. And as Josh said, then you can run a bunch of people through it. You can figure out where the leaks are, and you can start plugging those up and making sure that everything works the way you want it to.
But now we're heading down the path of tools and technologies that I don't use, Angular and React and
Well,
all of those things.
so you can discount those particular keywords and find other keywords. I mean, you could get
Yeah.
into the module loaders, or some of the other tools like that with Webpack, or
I hate
Express
Webpack.
JSPM, or just things like that. I
Yeah.
mean, if you find a tool that seems to click, or you find some way of using it that makes a lot of sense, but you find these areas that have traction, and they're areas that you're at least interested in if you don't actually already move in them, and then you can
Mhm.
make it work.
I mean, ultimately, you're going to have to find something. Well, let's look at it from this perspective. What has worked the best so far? What thing has generated you the most subscribers so far that you've done?
The most mailing list subscribers or Watch Me Code subscribers?
Uh, I mean, well, let's start with mailing list subscribers, because I mean
Getting put in
that's
JS Weekly. By far. That
okay.
generates far more traffic and far more subscribers than anything else.
Okay, and it's so okay. So can you do something? Can you kind of engineer content that will get put into JS Weekly, and then mention that content. You see what I'm saying? So that you can get in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I do try to do that on a fairly regular basis, and probably 8 out of 10 things that I suggest for those newsletters never get put in.
What about if you asked one of the newsletters, if you start asking, what if you get a list of the newsletters? Because if one of those is profitable to you, then probably multiple are.
Mhm.
And you email the newsletter, and you say, what kind of content would your audience like? And you basically ask them what they want, and then you create that exact thing. Like, what is the thing
Right.
that you don't have that you would definitely put in your newsletter if that existed? Like, and that
That's
might be a good
interesting.
road to go because
Mm-hmm.
they would be interested in helping you to do that because that would be an easy
Mm-hmm.
link for them, and then if they've given you the suggestion and then you create it, it's pretty hard to say no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah.
so that might be a good start. And you could probably make a list of find as many newsletters similar to JS Weekly as possible, and you could work that system and just start building like a system around that if that works, where you can essentially do that every week or on a rotation or something.
Yeah.
Then you have a guaranteed thing that works that generates the signups, which will generate conversions to Watch Me Code.
Mm-hmm. Two other thoughts here. One is that when you get into JS Weekly, is it because you emailed Peter or because Peter found your post?
I've never been in there except when I make a suggestion.
So I would be doing that routinely. The other thing that comes to mind is for some of these technologies, you're probably not going to want to do a Watch Me Code video on here's why I hate Webpack, but it would make an excellent blog post,
Right.
right? You can go in and you can say, look, when I try and set up Webpack, it's this kind of a mess,
Yeah.
or it doesn't solve these problems for me well, or whatever. And I can tell you that there are enough people out there that are highly interested in Webpack, or at least in the problems created by having so many tool options that do so many things for you, that you'll probably drive traffic off of that. So it doesn't have to be here's how to use this great technology. It could be here's why I won't use this technology that seems to be popular at the moment.
That's a good idea. And then also if you do that,
and it'll probably get into the newsletters too.
Yeah, my only thought there is writing that kind of a post. In order for it to be taken seriously, I need experience in that tool or technology to say these are the problems and this is why.
No, you don't.
My complaint with Webpack is the high cost of entry and configuration.
Well, there you go.
It does some cool things, but holy crap, is the user experience caustic.
So there are a couple of different blog post types. I mean, the one that you're saying you need is the expert post, but there's also the experience report.
Yeah.
I tried to use Webpack for an hour, and at the end of the hour, I wasn't any further along than when I started. All I had was a configuration file that was about halfway complete. Who wants to use a tool like that?
Right.
You explain it, you make it interesting to read, you illustrate where you need to illustrate, you make these connections in people's heads, and then you go, so I'm not interested.
And that's a great YouTube video, by the way, just ranting on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people are going to be searching for that keyword, and then you can lead them to Watch Me. You can give them the alternative of what you recommend, and talk about the videos that you do
that you have on Watch Me Code for that module loader.
Yeah, YouTube is really going to be a good one too, I think, for you, like to just start creating like little clips about technologies, just you in the camera, and then also little just short tutorials and getting started, very, very, very basic getting started tutorials or technology overviews. And then because that's a lot of people are searching on that, and that's directly it's so much. I mean, to me, that's the natural channel for you. It's better than a blog because people are looking for tutorials. They're searching on YouTube, and if you give them that content, they're your natural customer. That's how they're wanting to consume the content. So
Yeah, and you're not the thing that's nice about it for you, Derek, is you're not going to be like YouTube results show up on the front page of Google almost automatically. Like if you've got a matching YouTube result, it's like you jump to the head of the line versus you right now you're battling with SitePoint.com and a dozen other really good well-established sites for that front page traffic, and it's really tough.
Right.
And YouTube you're going to get people searching there directly, and then you're also going to pick up people from Google.
Yeah. The other thing is that even if you do the why I can't stand Webpack, what that does is it does bring that conversation into your channel on YouTube or onto your blog. Because then people who come in and say, you could have short-circuited half that work with this, that's still there. That value's still on your blog. And so that conversation can happen in a place where you can control it and where people are going to be coming in for it. And even if they're not coming in directly for your advice on something, they'll still see the opt-in form, and you're going to get something out of it.
Yeah.
Stunned silence.
Yes. That's the only that is an accurate description.
One thing that's very tangentially related to this that I'd like to bring up is I was thinking, well, I'd really like to have the time to go look at Derek's funnel in more detail so that I can say, oh, I think this might help here, or this might help there, and I just don't have the time. But we're planning our retreat at the end of this month, and I'd like to talk a little bit about how we want that to work, because I think something like that might be helpful for Derek. I know it'd be helpful for me.
So I think about that on a regular basis. I think about, I could spend, all next week really fixing the sales funnel that I have, because there's a lot of things that I want to do better. I know I can do better by getting it put into a proper workflow in Drip. I'd be able to see it better. I'd be able to organize how everything flows better. I'd be able to make a lot of adjustments that I think need to happen. But this is the same conversation that we just had about where is the best use of my time and money. And I don't know that adjusting that funnel is going to have a huge impact. I think we've had this conversation before where we've said more traffic is going to be a better use of my time versus tweaking the funnel.
Well, it depends. Okay, so it depends. It depends. If tweaking the funnel just makes things neater, then yeah, you're right. But if tweaking the funnel gives you better visibility into what's working and what's not, then it's worth doing. It's kind of, I mean, comparing that to, that's like the structure of your business versus the design is the paint on the outside of the house. So, like, your flow and drip is more like one of the load-bearing walls inside, and if there's cracks in the load-bearing wall, that's more that's going to have a more significant impact overall than the color of the paint or the shutters.
So what's your hourly rate to help me figure that out, Josh? Because I couldn't tell you.
You'll have to buy some time from John.
I don't know the first thing about discovering those cracks in that wall.
Yeah.
I walk into a house and oh, the house is standing up. That's all I see.
Right. Yeah, I mean it might very well be that right now your best option is just traffic and just focusing on that. I mean, you've got something that's working. It probably makes sense. It makes sense for you at this point to come up with some kind of traffic machine that's going to get you growth over time. Because right now you're sort of flatlining. You're not really.
Very much so.
You're not growing, and so you need to figure out, like, if I do these 5 things every week, I will get 1% growth every week. Something like that versus continuing to do what you're doing now, which is just treading water. Yeah. And when you have that, then I think when you have that and you're just executing it every week, then it makes sense to come back and do some of this cleanup. I mean, the last week and a half for me has been with Simple Programmer stuff has been a lot of getting everything into workflows, getting making sure that we're tagging people correctly. It's been really fiddly, but it's giving us much better visibility into where people are coming from. We finally got drip tracking working with DPD.
Yeah.
Not drip, but Google Analytics tracking working with DPD.
Okay.
So we can see where our sales are coming from finally. I mean, that's important. That is gonna help us long term to see, and I'm like, now I'm kind of just able to go into Google Analytics and fool around, and I can see where all of our email signups are coming from, where all of our sales are coming from. It's definitely that's been beneficial for us.
Right.
And like getting everything set up in drip workflows would probably take you. I mean, it took me a couple days. It might be something we could hack on at the retreat and get you most of the way there. I could walk you through it.
But is that a really valuable thing to do?
I think it is because it gives you visibility into where people are in your funnel, and I set up tracking URLs and everything, so I know what people are clicking on, which emails are converting, like that sort of thing.
Okay.
So it might.
Because I don't really have
it's
a lot
probably,
of visibility at this point.
It's not worth spending weeks on, but it's probably worth spending a few days on.
Okay. And I converted one of my rule sets into a workflow already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember which one it was. It was a really simple one. It was a couple of different rules relating to new Watch Me Code subscribers. Actually, that is what it is, the new Watch Me Code subscriber. And really all it is, it's not even a complete workflow. It's just what happens when you become when you first become a Watch Me Code subscriber. So it's the adding you to a campaign and tagging you as a subscriber and making sure that you're not getting the sales pitch for Watch Me Code anymore.
Right. So one thing I did was I set up. Right now we have 2 email courses. We have this 5 learning mistakes course that I did, and then John's blogging course that he did. And what I did was I set up a workflow so that every time someone subscribes to Simple Programmer, they get offered a pitch sequence to get them to sign up for that email course.
Okay.
And somewhere between 10 and 20% of people that go through that sequence end up subscribing to the email course. So that way, everybody, even if we get somebody subscribed for like a content upgrade, like we just added content upgrade for John has this ultimate list of developer podcasts post that's really popular. So I created a content upgrade for that. And then when people sign up for that, they just kind of go in our generic newsletter form, and then they get added to this workflow, and it asks, oh, have they gotten the blog course yet? No. Okay, well, offer them the blog course, and they get this 3 email sequence. And then when that's done, they go back into the top of this workflow, and then they fall down and they get offered the 5 learning mistakes course. So that way everybody that comes through at least gets pitched on the email courses that we use to sell our main products.
Right.
So, and I can see exactly how many people are going through that, and I can see I can see the click rates on the emails and everything, and I can track the emails to sales.
Mm-hmm.
So, something like that where you've got people, you're bringing people in and you're automatically nurturing them more. That's really valuable to create. You've got some email courses, right? You've got like your JavaScript this course. Well, what if everybody who subscribed to your site got offered that after they got a few emails from you?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And if 10% or 20% of them are going to take you up on it, and those people are either going to buy or they're going to get exposure to your product, and they're going to be, maybe more interested in buying it later.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just free. It's like free promotion for everything you've got. That way, everybody kind of automatically gets everything that you have to offer at some point.
Yeah, I could also see this extending into like Express Basics or Advanced Express or something like that course, email course that gives them just enough information to whet their appetite, so that they want to go and either buy the package or
Which I've got that email course already. I've got a Express Pro Tips email course, which is done fairly well. And my whole focus in Watch Me Code for the last 4 or 5 months has been Express architecture and growing a production Express app. And which brings me, I guess, to my next question of, would it be better to focus my time on more traffic and better workflow for nurturing people within that, or spend my time and money getting the next big bundle out the door, which typically make me pretty good money? Like the RabbitMQ bundle that I spent a couple of months working on, I made $15,000 off of that last year.
The product launch, like, we want to get you off the product launch morphine drip. So
But why?
Well, okay, no.
So I made half of my income last year, half of my entrepreneurial income last year off of product launches like that.
Yeah, but unless it's repeatable with the funnel, like, okay, if when you do the product launch, it adds to your bottom line, like, significantly every time. So, like, if you do this 5 more times, then your reoccurring revenue will increase. Then it would be more of a worthwhile investment. But if it's just a quick burst where it's more like freelance income, then that's not very good. So, but once you get what Josh is saying, once you get that done and you've got your funnel and it's converting and you've got that steady, then every time you add a product, it will multiply the entire outcome of the funnel.
Yeah,
so can I clarify real quick?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is instead of creating a new product, dropping it out there and telling the list, hey, there's a new product, what you're saying is build a drip sequence up so that when you have when you put the product out there, you have a drip sequence that leads people into buying that product, so that you can put more people into that funnel as you go and have kind of a marketing chain that leads them to that point.
It's kind of both. So with 10 steps, we did a big launch in November for it, right? And we made a bunch of money off of that. And then we took all those emails, and I wrote an email course that basically I planned it this way out on purpose. So when I was building the sales page and the launch emails, I also wrote a 5 email sequence that was designed to lead up to the same basic launch emails. So we have an evergreen funnel. So now I've got this 5-day email course that transitions into a sales sequence automatically. And so they get offered the course. People go through the course, they see the name of the product, some of them click on the link and check out the sales page, and some of them buy. If they buy, they come off the sales sequence. If they don't buy, then we drop them into a sales sequence, and they get a discount offer, like a one-time discount offer, just like we're doing a product launch. To them, it looks just like a product launch or a sale. And then, so that gives us evergreen. So it's like it's the one-time sale, but it gives us an evergreen funnel, and we're getting sales from that every day versus doing a one-time product launch and then having to come up with the next product.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
There's nothing wrong with doing a big launch, and you should absolutely do the big launch, but you also want to make it so that everyone who comes onto your list goes through that launch again. You don't want to waste that effort. It's like it would be like throwing away. It would be like deleting blog posts, like publishing a blog post for a week and then deleting it. Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, no, I get it. I kind of feel like that's what I've done with my RabbitMQ course at this point, and to some extent my Express.js stuff. So I could probably one of the things I need to do. I've got in Thrive, I've got targeted specifically my RabbitMQ based blog posts. They're converting at 3%, but they're not getting a ton of traffic.
Yeah.
So I've had 767 impressions and 24 conversions onto my RabbitMQ for Applications email course.
Nice.
So what I should be doing there is working on creating a proper workflow in Drip so that when people go through and sign up for that course, they end up in a longer, more thoughtful sales pitch to drive them toward the full RabbitMQ bundle.
Yep.
And then you can also work it into your workflow so that after so long, it comes up and it says, oh, by the way, I also have this other email course about Express.
Yep.
And then you can put them through the next course and sales cycle to see if you can convert with them on that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's the difference between like landing on the utilities in Monopoly and the properties with a monopoly and a couple of houses that then become a hotel. Like to me, just releasing the thing is them landing on the utilities, but then having this set up so that every time that you buy a new house, you know, and they land on it, now it's a bigger win. Then I think that's what you want to do.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, that way you're nudging your customer lifetime value up, your subscriber lifetime value up.
Mm-hmm.
Every little nook and cranny you add to your email funnel like that will just bump up your overall per subscriber value. So email subscriber value.
So the consensus then from this conversation is don't do the design work. Let me continue, I guess. Don't do the design work that I was talking about earlier, and instead focus on improving the workflow in Drip to market the existing email courses and eventual products behind those email courses to try and convert more email subscribers into paying customers.
Yeah.
So that brings up the question of, do I focus on selling these bundles, or do I focus on converting people to Watch Me Code subscribers? Because right now the workflow is focused on converting people to Watch Me Code subscribers.
If I were you, this is what I would do. And feel free to chime in here, guys. But I would focus on selling the bundle and bundling with the bundle a couple of months free subscription to Watch Me Code. Then you're doing both, and the bundle's the big ticket item, because a bundle costs how much on average?
Well, the problem with this is we've talked about this. I agree, but the problem is that the bundles are basically contained within Watch Me Code, right? They're a superset, or a subset rather, of Watch Me Code.
Yeah, subset.
But that's fine, because what you're doing there is you're like, here's a Coke. When you buy this 12-pack of Coke, you can get.
I hope you're talking about the carbonated beverage.
He is moving to San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you buy the 12-pack of Coke, you can get free rental on the soda fountain, right? Because it's not like, I mean, if you're to do it the other way, you couldn't do it the other way. You couldn't say, hey, when you sign up for Watch Me Code, you get this free bundle that you get for free anyway.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't work. But if you sign up for the bundle, then you could say, well, you might not have wanted to do a monthly subscription type of thing, but here's
the difference is how do I explain this? I'm trying to think how to explain this within your analogy, because you're not getting the soda fountain
free forever.
It would be more like, gosh, this analogy just breaks down.
You lose access to the bundle when you stop the subscription, right? Even though the content. No. If you stop your Watch Me Code subscription, you would lose access to the bundle contained within it. I'm saying if you bought it separately, you own the bundle. It's yours.
Right. I guess that's true.
That's
true.
Actually, the better analogy. It's buying a DVD movie versus renting it, right? It's like, versus Netflix. It's like, hey, it's like this. This is like, it's Netflix is like, I know that you really liked Saving Private Ryan and you bought the Blu-ray. That's awesome. So now you get 2 months of free Netflix, and Saving Private Ryan's on there, but you have it. You own it. So even if you cancel the Netflix subscription, you still get that Blu-ray DVD that you bought, or the DVD, the digital download of it that you bought. But maybe you'd like our all-you-can-eat service. We're going to give you a couple of months free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you could try it out. I think it would make sense. Maybe you include something in the bundle, just like one kind of other like guidebook or something that goes
Yeah,
along
it would
with
be
it.
better if there was some extra value in the bundle.
Yeah, and in the RabbitMQ one there is, because I have the
Okay.
2 ebooks and the 6 interviews that are not
Okay,
part
well
of
there
Watch
you
Me
go.
Code.
There you go.
There
Yeah.
you go. Okay.
And what's the average price of your bundles?
Average price for just a screencast bundle is like $99.
Okay, so
Um,
it's like a year of subscription. So
yeah,
to me, it makes sense to try and sell the bundle if your average lifetime
yeah. My
free
average
customer
lifetime
is six.
value for a subscriber is down to $62.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so you make more selling the bundle,
Yeah.
and you may get them hooked on the subscription.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
think for your audience, you'd want to be super clear that you're going to be doing recurring billing
yeah.
on the Watch Me Code subscription. So,
yeah,
and maybe give them the option to opt out of that.
You'd give them a discount if they opt in now and take the 2 months free or whatever it is, right? You'd be like, otherwise it'll be full price.
Yeah,
So
you could do that. You could say it's a discount for trying out this other thing.
right.
and then they're signed up, they've given their credit card information, they have to actively cancel to cancel, otherwise at the end of the 2 months they'll go into regular billing.
Hmm.
Yep.
That would make sense to me. And then you're giving them the option up front and you're giving them the discount, and that's a bonus thing. And if they want the bonus thing, you know, I don't know. I think that'd be how I would try to. I think that's going to be the most profitable way for you to sell in
Yeah,
the
I
long run.
agree.
Yeah.
And then you can also that also gives you the chance to market your. So once they sign up, you're not done. Your work's just starting, and you need to market that first couple of weeks. You need to market Watch Me Code to them, and make sure that they're getting the value out of it.
It also gives you a good affiliate type of promotion, because then you can sell bundles. Like, you can have people sell bundles, and then they get
Yeah.
the subscription. Like, I'm thinking maybe we could sell some. We could have somewhere on Simple Programmer where we have, in my resources in the products page, maybe we have your bundles there, and
Yeah,
we talk about how it gives someone, they get, maybe we have a
Right.
special promotion where they get something extra and they get like free couple of months or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. The
okay.
other thing is after you pitch them all of your different packages or bundles, then you can just come back and say, you didn't buy any of the bundles, but do you realize you get most of the videos that are available in those bundles if you get a subscription?
Yeah.
More stunned silence.
But I would say then, just to summarize, I think your three things, I mean, you'll have to prioritize the order, but the one is what we talked about, is tightening the conversion on the funnel, and having the offers in there, like Josh was saying, to make that gauntlet or Plinko machine or whatever in
Yeah.
there. And then two would be traffic generation through the weekly newsletters, like getting that as a traffic generation engine. And then number three would be to invest more into YouTube to figure out a good strategy.
Yeah. Well, I would
Mhm.
back that up and actually just say having a traffic strategy that is going to be something beyond what you have now. So either YouTube or guest blogging, if that looks like it's feasible, or the email newsletter thing. Those are all pretty good options to throw in the hopper.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think if I were in your shoes, I think I would want to. I would want to work on the traffic thing first and just get a system in place that is going to get me long-term growth, and then circle. But once you have that as a routine and you're comfortable with it, and you're just doing it every week, then I'd circle back and do some of this other stuff.
Yep.
That's the more difficult one for me, honestly.
The traffic side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, to some extent, like if John, like if on Simple Programmer, if we didn't have a huge amount of traffic already, and also have John, the workhorse, plugging away on YouTube videos. So if not for that, I probably would want to focus on traffic here as well. But we have so much traffic already that we're not using very well, so I'm spending a good amount of time on the conversion side of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're both important, but with where you are now, I think getting your traffic up is probably a higher priority.
Yeah, because it's going to have long-term
in spite
benefits.
of in spite of the way my funnel is currently set up.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, like, once you get people in on your list, you can even if you're not communicating the best of them now, you can always do a sale, and you can always you know what I mean, like, it's better to collect more of them.
Yeah. It's you can always fix it later with the email. When you have a good email list, when you're at least collecting email addresses, you can fix most of the damage later. And what you're doing right now, Derek, is working, and it's not bad. I mean, it's pretty good. You're probably ahead of 95% of people out there. So
yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, my subscriber count is dwindling, and it's
you're looking at selling 1 month worth of
selling subscriptions is tough. Okay, you're already, just the fact that you have a subscription product that is bringing in multiple thousands of dollars a month automatically puts you in probably the top 5%. Like,
that's probably true.
Most people that try that fail, so you're already doing pretty well with it. And the reason your subscriber count is dropping is mainly just because you have to do these little one-time pushes to kind of nudge to get people on there. And so every time you do that, there's a decay off of that. So that's to be expected.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
So how about this? How about, because I think I can do a reasonable facsimile of the kind of workflow you're talking about for my RabbitMQ bundle in probably a few hours. That seems like it would be worth doing right now, and then spend more time after that focusing on the generating traffic.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me, because that sounds like it would be a quick win.
Yeah.
So if you get if 10 to 20% of people that come onto your list go through that, and then 2 to 3% of them buy, you'll see a nice little jump in your.
Right. I can at least get the RabbitMQ email course set up to put people into a pitch sequence for the full bundle. Mm-hmm. And I have the full pitch sequence for that bundle already. I know how effective it was based on last year.
Yep.
So I can just put that into a sequence to get people onto. And then if I have, if it's not going to take too much time, maybe I can put together the general mailing list. Oh, by the way, this is really cool architecture stuff you can do with queuing. You might check this out and get people into the email sequence from there.
Yep.
But that might actually require a new email sequence, which would be more work right now. Because I would need to have a way to convince people of the value that message-based architecture has, and I don't have that pitch sequence written right now.
What I did with ours was I did one for the learning mistakes, and it's actually pretty easy. They're short emails. They're like less than 200 words, and it's just basically agitating the problem, and then click here, and I'll show you how I solved it, type of deal. So I'm sure you've got plenty of stories where a message-based architecture of
Mm-hmm.
some mess that a message-based architecture. So describe the problem, and then get them to click through, and you'll walk them through the solution. And they're pretty fast and fun to write. And I did 3 of them, so I get 3 shots at people to get them onto the other email sequence.
What are you going to and from in that? I'm not quite sure I'm following you with this.
Okay, so you come in, so you sign up for the ultimate guide to, or the ultimate list of developer podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
You get on our generic newsletter list. And then I drop you into we call it the Plinko machine, because you just sort of, people sort their way down until they fall into a hole. It's like
Okay.
first thing you come to that you haven't already taken, that's what we offer you. So I drop them in the top, and then they've already taken the blogging course, so then they go down to the 5 learning mistakes course. And then the first email is about how John, so they go on to this 3-part pitch sequence, and I'm pitching the free email course.
Okay.
Is that clear? Okay, so the first email is how John almost dropped out, or almost quit programming after he took his first programming course in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what the next 2 emails are, but that's kind of like, it's like I almost quit programming because I made this learning mistake. Click here and I'll tell you what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Type of deal. So it's kind of it's an interesting story, and then a little tease to get them to take the next step.
And what's that next step in those cases?
The next step is to click the link, which signs you up for the 5 learning mistakes course.
Okay.
So I'm selling the learning course as if it's a paid product almost. Like if you can think about it that way, like I've got a kind of like we do those the 3-day sales sequences.
Yeah.
It's a 3-day sales sequence. Only all I'm selling is this other free thing.
Right.
So, and that's working well. It's getting, but between the 2 of them, it's somewhere between 10 and 20% of people are opting in.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You know what we need to do with that? Maybe. I wonder if we need to take them to the site. I wonder if we need to put those emails on the site so that like when we do actually teach the lesson, that like a little bit of the lesson's there, and then you click to read the rest, and then it's got the rest of the lesson. Then we'll be getting more traffic to the site, but
all the lessons on the main lessons in your video, it's on the confirmation page right now.
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking the other lesson. I'm thinking in the lessons in general. I'm wondering if email courses should be directing people back to the site.
Yeah, there's advantages to doing both. I tend to, like, my default is to put the whole message in the email, because if you don't, only 5 to 10% of people are going to click that link, period. And so you're losing, you're not, more people will read it if you've got the whole thing in there. And so I'd rather have them, by default, read the whole thing, have more people read the whole thing than have a few people click through, unless I want to do something based on the click, like if I want to tag them.
Yeah.
And it's good to train people too to click links, so once in a while to do it that way. But for the most, I think I'll do that with some videos for you, like send them over to YouTube or something.
Well, that's what. Okay, yeah, because I'm doing this with the blogging course, sort of.
Right.
What I'm doing is I'm adding bonus content. So in the PS, I'm like, oh, by the way, check out this video that explains this concept more. So it's like, here's the lesson, but if you want to learn more, go to this blog post, go to this video, go to this. Because my thinking when I originally set that up is I wanted to get them indoctrinated into as much content as possible.
Right.
But I don't know. I was just thinking when you were saying that, I was like, oh, maybe we should have the whole. But you're right. We shouldn't have the whole email on there. We should just have. But every single email, we should have some kind of thing that they can do. I think that would take them to another piece of content.
We could test it. We could also cut our legs out from underneath us in terms of sales. Well, since it is kind of it's a sales sequence.
That's true. I'm just saying if there's not a call to action if we're not selling the product in that email.
Yeah. Well, I do have, most of them do have a call to action to go to the sales page.
That's true. Okay, okay, that makes
So
sense. And that's
yeah,
why that's different. Okay.
yep. Poor Derek.
So I got to tell you guys about pain this week. God, I must have tweaked something when I was lifting on Monday. I just had like a little bit of a, sore when I was doing like shoulder press or something. And I did my videos, like I recorded, had the film crew come and I did like 25 videos. And then that evening I started to get a little bit stiff. And that night I was like feeling like, like stiff neck. And then the morning, like on Tuesday morning, it was like super stiff neck. And then probably about that evening, it just hit me like worst pain I've ever had, like a constant 8 for the last like 3 days, like from Tuesday night on until like just this morning, it was like a constant 8 of pain in my neck, like upper back neck pain, ridiculous. It was I couldn't sleep. There was no way to lay. There was nothing that was comfortable. I can't even describe it. Like you can't. There's nothing that you can do to relieve the pain. Just 100% no position, nothing. And yeah. So, but I think I figured out the problem today. Or last night. I had my wife like massage the point like really hard, and I started doing like arm circles and just like you know doing kind of like making sure to like moving the point that hurt, and now I'm seeming to be. I think it may be fixed, but
Nice. So is it back down to a reasonable level, or?
it doesn't hurt right now.
Oh,
Like there's yeah, in fact it's
sweet.
0 right now. Like as I'm sitting here, but like there's still like a point. If I put my neck down, I can feel the pain, but
Yeah.
it's not a
Mm.
it was constant, like at an 8 level. Like I was ready to cry. Like it was bad for over 48 hours. It was just ridiculous. But yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yay!
yeah.
Yeah, John messaged me. He's like, "I'm not going to be working today." I was like, okay, this is bad. This is clearly bad.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if any of you guys have had problems like that, but it was bad. I went to the doctor yesterday. He injected like a steroid, and that did nothing. And he gave me some codeine, which I took last night, which was I don't think I'm taking that again. That was I took 2 of them. I took one during the day, and it was like nothing. It was still just as painful, just an 8. Like it reduced it down to like a 7.5. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take 2 before I go to bed at night. So I took 2 of them, and I'm like, okay, nothing's happening. 45 minutes later, all of a sudden, like maybe an hour later, it's like I'm in a tunnel listening, like everything's foggy. And then I was like, all right, I guess I
Purple
should go to
haze is
sleep.
playing, wafting from the background.
So then the pain is gone, right? Or maybe the pain's there and you just don't care. Whatever, one of those things. But so I'm sleeping and it's like the weirdest. I swear I had 50 dreams in the I'm sweating and it's like, but there's no pain. So I'm like, okay, well I can actually sleep because it was the first time I was actually able to lay down without pain. Like I could actually sleep. And so like I'm dreaming like all these dreams, like 50 dreams or so, like all these nightmares and just and so I get up and I'm like, oh man, like it started to wear off. So I was like, it's pain again, right? So I get up and I go and I look at my phone to see what time it is. Like, man, it's got to be like 8 a.m. or something. It's 1 a.m.
Oh
I'm like,
man.
oh crap.
Oh man.
I'm nowhere close to being done with the night. So yeah,
Oh,
it was fun. So I hope I hope that's it because I am sick of this. But
that
That's
sucks.
rough.
I've never had
You,
really
you,
bad
you may
back
actually
pain.
have an allergy to codeine based on your
on
description
the
there. My dad told me once he's got an allergy to I don't remember what painkiller it is, and the way he found out is when he went into the doctor to get some minor surgical procedure done, and they gave him whatever this painkiller was, and every time he closed his eyes, he saw visions of an army rushing in to kill him, and
Wow.
it was
Gosh.
freaking him out. And so he the next time the nurse came in, he said, every time I close my eyes, I'm seeing this, and it's this horrible, nightmarish thing. And she's like, yeah, you're allergic to that. We're not going to give you that anymore. Let me give you this instead. So they got him on something else, and he was fine after that, and he's never had that problem again. It was just that one medication.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Wow.
don't know. I was surprised he didn't give me a muscle relaxer. He just gave me the codeine.
Yeah. Well, codeine is a muscle relaxer, I thought.
No, it's an opiate. It's like a
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Why why treat the cause when we can just attack the symptom?
Exactly.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that
it is a narcotic. You're right.
I would not wish it on my worst enemy. That was just horrible. I was like, how long?
Yeah.
Like it's one thing, but it kept getting worse every day. I was like, and you can't lay, you can't sleep. There's nothing that you can do. It was I'm in support of medical marijuana now. Like if you have chronic pain, that would suck. I can't imagine living with that forever. But yeah,
Oh,
so
that's funny.
that was fun. But
Oh.
I think
John's drug-induced psychosis.
yeah. Oh, I also released a video about sexism. I've opened up the floodgates now because
Ooh, that's can of worms.
someone had emailed me about the videos I was doing for guys. We were talking
Uh-huh.
about those, and they're like, basically like, why are you making videos just for guys? There's no. It was a good question. It was like, it made sense. Like, you know, aren't men and women totally 100% the same? Essentially, like, do you think women should be in the kitchen? So I did like this 20-minute video response, which I was like, should I release this thing? And so far it's like, I mean, I think the ratio is, what is it? Let me see what
John,
it
that
is.
is the YouTube equivalent of a filibuster, dude. Like the
Yeah.
people who disagree with you will never make it through.
Exactly. So the stats right now are 759 views with 72 upvotes and 4 downvotes. So
Two
that's
of
pretty
those were
good.
me from different
Yeah,
accounts. So
and 37 comments. So I was surprised. So good response from that. I expected a little bit more polarity in it, but I guess so. But yeah, clearly going down that road now, broaching the thing that I never wanted to broach because what the hell? Let's do it.
Oh.
yeah, John's like, well, I'll lure Josh into a simple programmer and then crash it into the ground.
Oh man.
Yeah, you didn't know what you're getting into. I was like,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, well, yeah. John was like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna automate this whole thing, and it's just gonna be smooth and chill,
Yeah.
you know."
But no, but it's fun. It's good. I'm playing more. I feel like it's a little bit. I'm changing my stance on being more controversial and polarizing, not for the sake of just being an a-hole, but like you really. I don't know. There's a huge benefit to you can't be 100% genuine if you're not willing to go like certain places. So I don't know. I'm figuring some of this out. Like and it's working. I mean, the YouTube we're at like 18,500 subscribers, somewhere around there now. We're adding like 2,500 subscribers a month at this clip, and it's increasing. So that's
It
pretty
really,
good.
it kind of depends like what your objective is. If I think your advice before was really based off of getting a job, getting and keeping a job, and that's different. That's a different thing than getting and keeping an audience.
Yeah, it is.
And so, and really bonding deeply with an audience. So,
Exactly. Yeah. And I think there's certain points where you can get away with it and not, right? It's like
yeah.
you have to reach a certain inflection point where you have enough of an audience because it's like I always tell people with their blogs, because one of the questions I get with my blogging courses, they're like, well, should I post personal content in there? And my answer is, it depends on what stage you are. When you're first starting out, no one cares what you ate for breakfast. They don't
Right.
care about your family or your dog is
Right.
sick. but once you start to build a bit of a following and you've got a successful blog on SQL Server or whatever it is, or JavaScript or whatever it is, then they want to know a little bit more about you. Then those posts, then it's like you're a little bit of a celebrity in that space. There's people that are following you. They want to know, people want to know the private lives of celebrities or who they deem. So you got to kind of have that bit of, I think there's a certain point. And I think it's the same thing with being controversial as well. It's like if you have one YouTube video on YouTube and 5 subscribers, and you're like calling people out and coming off as very authoritative on subjects and being very sarcasm, having a lot of sarcasm and stuff like that. No one is going to take you seriously. They're going to look at your history and your stats, and they're going to say this guy is just a joker. Whereas I think as you build up reputation, you can do that more. So as Trump has demonstrated for us all. So
yeah, it also depends. Like, so for you in this audience, it makes a ton of sense. If you're the who's your subscriber that runs that huge SQL Authority blog? Like if you're
Anil Dawe,
yeah, like that it makes less sense there. But since you are focusing on more like life skills, then it's extremely relevant for him to go on a rant about something political, something politically charged doesn't really fit into what he's doing overall. So
right.
It doesn't really make any sense.
Right, but for him to go into background of his family or things like that, that would be interesting, or something related, or even political issues in India, since his audience is connected there, and that would be tangentially, or especially political issues as they relate to the government and IT, and so. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's all it's all an experiment, and who knows, maybe there's just an element of some people are able to do it, some people aren't able to do it, but you see what's working. But I don't know, this appears to be working, and it's I feel like it's the right direction. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like it's the right direction. I feel like being more authentic is just the right direction in this particular case.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I am in support.
Cool. Next, we will tackle affirmative action video. No. Proposition 15 we'll go with.
There we go.
Which religion is the best? That's the video I'm going to do. Which religion is the best, and which one is shit? Which...
Clearly, the CrossFit religion is the absolute worst.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Every damn CrossFit conversation turns into a religious conversion experience.
Yes.
Oh man.
Send me in pictures of your children, and I will rate them on video.
Oh my
awesome.
gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to jump in here. So I finally finished getting all of the top 10 episode email things out. Oddly enough, I should have started with JavaScript, but I did them second to last, so it's only been up for like 3 days. I just put freelance everywhere until I got them all done. But over the last 30 days, I've had 915 people join my mailing list.
That's great.
Which is a happy thing. So I'm excited to see where this winds up going, and I'm working on kind of the next stage of courses / pitch emails for getting people to sign up for the remote conferences.
Do you have so one thing I'm doing right now is the content upgrade thing. So it might be worth going in and looking at all of on your sites. Are there any pages that are an order of magnitude more traffic than others, like certain podcast episodes, or I don't know if you have any actual blog posts up there?
There are probably specific episodes that.
Because
You know,
we did a so Thrive has this content marketing report, they call it, and it was really interesting. It took John, I think John probably spent like an hour and a half trying to get the stupid thing to even load, but it showed us what the conversion rates were on each page, and what we found was that the home page was converting at like 2%, which was pretty good. So it was like 2% with between all the different widgets and stuff that we have on there. And there's like 3 different opt-in forms, and then almost every other page, it was like less than 0.5%. So it was abysmal on most of the pages. And so, I was actually talking to Chuck and he dropped off. There we go. Chuck, you back? You back, Chuck? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know what happened there.
All right, cool. Yeah. So we were getting no conversions on any of the other pages, basically. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to the top 10 pages and I'm doing content upgrades for each of them. And that'll get us so our top 10 blog posts, the homepage I think gets around 8,000 users a month or something like that. And then each of the popular pages gets maybe 2,000 to 3,000. So if we get those if I can get those top 10 pages to convert it to somewhere between 2 and 5% is like my goal. That'll be huge. Versus right now they're only converting at like 0.5% or less. So you probably have a similar situation.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how it would do that on podcast episodes.
Honestly, what I'm doing right now for content upgrades is I am having our VA make a PDF of the blog post. It is literally the same exact content in a PDF. Have it transcribed if you don't already have it. Make the transcript into a PDF.
That's already done too.
Offer it more explicitly and require them to opt in for it then. Or
that's an interesting. Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, or
because
offer
right now
them
it's a direct download, but I could actually say, well, enter your email address and I'll send it to you.
Yep. So that is, and I can show you how to do this in Drip really easily because Drip with the Drip workflows are so amazing. And this week I figured out how to create a workflow that is just one content upgrade workflow, and I can add as many things to it as I want. And then when people come in, they basically have they're tagged with a lead magnet field. They have a lead magnet custom field, and then when it hits that point in the workflow where it says if they have lead magnet equals, ultimate list of developer podcasts, send a one-off email, and then I've got the one-off email with the download link. So it's really easy to extend when I add a new upgrade.
And then how are you working those people over to convert?
They go into my little Plinko machine and I say, hey, check out this course we did. And then they get offered that, and then they get offered the other course, and so on.
Gotcha.
Yep. So,
I want to see your Plinko machine now.
I'm gonna do a big blog post about it. It's kind of cool. It's like I'm actually pretty. It's the one thing I feel like it's the one thing I've kind of innovated so far in my adventures as a marketer. Like I've never seen anybody else do anything quite like it. So I will be definitely doing a write-up on it at some point.
Cool.
I was thinking about why we're converting on the homepage. It probably is because when people are clicking home, they've already viewed a blog post and then they're clicking home, right?
Yeah.
So it's their second page view.
Or they're coming there directly because they know about the site already. That's what I think.
I guess that could be too, and then they're more inclined to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to send an email around that's probably going to start some of this Plinko stuff, and that is just, hey, you can get the top 10 of any of these shows. So when they get through the entire sequence, or they just sign up to get episodes, it's like, do you want the top 10? and then they can
Yeah, there
opt.
you go.
That way I can say, okay, so you're interested in Ruby and JavaScript, or Ruby and JavaScript and freelancing,
Yeah.
or iOS and freelancing,
Yeah.
and then I can start putting together the drip sequences behind that are, hey, here's blah 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 for iOS, and then at the end it pitches them on a webinar or on the remote conference or something.
That's pretty sweet, because now you're taking what was a weakness, which was that you have all these different podcasts, and now you're turning them all into feeders into one central system, and you're going to build your audiences for each of your podcasts. Each podcast is going to feed into the others, instead of having a bunch of silos.
One other thing I was thinking about for you, Chuck, especially as you're getting the email list together now, is you should have a product for each podcast essentially, but
I should.
don't create it right now. Just create it. Find an affiliate product. Find someone's product that fits every single one of your markets, and you sell that to that list for that podcast, because that'll be an easy income generation for you off of your way to monetize your existing lists that you're building. And then if they're real profitable, like really good ones, you can start replacing some of those affiliate offers with your own product.
Yeah, that's
Right.
the Amazon strategy. What they do is they have all these, Amazon has all these poor suckers who are scrambling and working like crazy to figure out how to get products from China and do all the marketing and do all the market research, and then Amazon sees which ones work, and then they come up and they have their little Amazon Basics, the Amazon Basics version of the product, and they undercut you and oh, well, by the way, we shut your account down. So
that's a great idea, honestly, because then I can start making money on the list immediately, and then start figuring out what they'll actually buy.
Yep. If you're going to do the affiliate thing, make sure that you get the product and go through it yourself and feel really good about selling it, because there's a lot of crappy stuff out there. But
the other thing I'm toying with too, instead of doing affiliate stuff, is, and we should try this out, Josh, the next time we do an actual affiliate thing, is instead of doing affiliate, doing white labeling. And just like taking someone's product and adding a little bit of content to it.
A simple programmer RabbitMQ bundle.
Exactly. Right? if you do that.
Welcome to Watch Me, Simple Programmer.
But if you do it that way, you have a lot more credibility with your audience.
Right.
And you can add something. So you would take someone's product, you would have the same kind of deal with them as an affiliate deal, but you would be relabeling it, and then you'd be adding like something like Sam's Club does this all the time, and Costco does it, where they take
it's licensing.
And they basically
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I'm excited just to see the list growing the way that it is, and I feel like the next few steps are going to be pretty interesting, just to see where things go.
That's awesome. I'm excited.
I also figured out that if you're going to do a meetup in a city, you have to follow up with the people and let them know where to go sooner than the day before you do the meetup.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had 45 people tagged to show up in Amsterdam and had one person actually show up.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So I kind of blew it.
Where did you meet up in Amsterdam?
It was De Hollander Blue, something like that. It was good food, and it wasn't too far off the beaten path. But yeah, I didn't let people know because I wasn't sure I could make a reservation until I got there, and then once I got there, I was like, that was stupid. I should have made the reservation like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then let everybody know, and then followed up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I am going to be going to Build in at the end of the month, right before we have our retreat.
Oh gosh.
I'm flying from San Francisco to Las Vegas. Let me put it that way. That's what it is.
Goodness. Wow.
And I want to do a meetup there for JavaScript Jabber and iFreaks, because both podcasts are invited, and so we're going to have crews from both podcasts there. So I'm trying to figure that out now, and get things set up so that instead of saying hey, we're going to do it and we don't know where, I can say, hey, this is where we're going to do it. Please RSVP by this date so I can actually make a reservation.
Here's a good one for you. That just reminded me of the bill because you guys heard Microsoft bought Xamarin, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So, as far as I know, there were two Xamarin podcasts. There was like an official one, and then there was one that I think is sort of unofficial, but I don't think both of them kind of dropped off. I'm looking now to see if they actually kept up with them. Oh, I don't know. I don't see, but that would be a good one for you, Chuck, especially now, like because Xamarin is going to become much, much bigger.
What, to have a Xamarin show?
hmm Oh, I guess yeah. Xamarin has an official podcast. I guess they have been keeping, or they've been doing once a month.
Once a month isn't enough.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
tell you that right now. If you want to build a following, once a month's not enough.
No, you could do a weekly Xamarin
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I'm seeing is that I'm moving into having more mobile shows because we have React Native
Right.
Radio and we have iFreaks. I'm sure I could get people together for an Android show without too much trouble.
Yeah.
And
You should
then,
really just get Don Felker to join your network.
yeah, I mean that's what I've been thinking is just adopting more shows. I have a few more kinks to work out with the current shows that I've adopted.
They're always a little awkward. Let's just be honest. You know.
I mean, I know the kids don't look like you, and anyway, so yeah, so I'm figuring that out, and I think here by June or so, I'll probably be able to adopt another show or two, or help start some up. I'm getting enough demand to where I'm probably going to actually help spin up a React show, because there's a React podcast out there, I think, that I found, but they're every other week, and that's you can build a following on that, but people really weekly is where it's at. So so I'm trying to figure all that stuff out.
Here's a good podcasting question I've been wanting to ask you guys. So, Simple Programmer podcast, right now, it's 3 episodes a week,
Uh-huh.
right? And it's just the YouTube, like the high quality YouTube videos. But I'm actually releasing like 14 to 15 YouTube videos a week. Most weeks. So some people express interest in having every single episode be on the podcast, but I'm torn between it because like I could just have Rodrigo start putting all the episodes, every single YouTube video as a podcast episode, or I'm torn between doing that and saying do the 3, but let's put a little ad insert in there and record me saying, hey, if you like this podcast, I actually do 14 or 15 of these. These come from YouTube, and I do 14 or 15 videos every single week. If you want to check that out, go to the YouTube channel. So that I'd be driving people. So the idea is, because I think podcast is harder to convert than YouTube. So my thinking on that side was, I don't want to just dump everything on the podcast. I want some incentive for people to subscribe to YouTube. So maybe I can push people who wouldn't even be watching YouTube to go to YouTube and subscribe, and then they're easier to convert from there. But I don't know. I flip back and forth between those two ideas.
You should be doing something to convert them. So I mean, whether you put something like that in there or driving back to simpleprogrammer.com or something, you should have some segment in there that says, basically go check out, YouTube for more blah blah blah.
We could do, John, you could just do a test for like a week or two where you you just use a pretty link, see how many people we get. Just go to simpleprogrammer.com/YouTube and then see how many people we get actually doing that. I'm a little skeptical that you can get people from a podcast are going to want to go consume video in a completely different format, or consume in a completely different format, because YouTube is like, I mean, I'm skeptical because I would never in a million years do that.
Yeah,
like podcasts are convenient because they come to you and they download, and then the video, like YouTube is a completely different animal.
But think of it this way, like we're not going to convert a large section, but I was thinking like if you're listening to every single episode of the podcast and it's a 3 times a week podcast, then if you found out there was a whole bunch more content out there, it doesn't mean that you're not going to listen to the podcast anymore, but you might subscribe to the YouTube channel too, and then every once in a while and check and see what videos you're missing on the YouTube channel, so that you see what I'm saying, and that's all we need.
Yeah.
Is for them. We don't need them to be like, watching every single
Yeah.
YouTube video. We just need them to occasionally be checking there as well, and maybe we would get like maybe I don't know, maybe like a few percent of people that would be doing that, but we've got so much. I mean, the podcast gets like around pretty close to 20,000 downloads a month. So that's a decent amount of people that are probably coming in. I don't know.
Yeah, it means you have a few thousand people listening to it. What you may also want to do is at the end of each, so at the beginning say, this is a recording that was posted to YouTube on this date, and then at the end say, this week we also posted videos about X, Y, Z, whatever, and that way people will be driven to YouTube when they hear like whatever keyword sets them off.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because then you're driving them for something they want, and then if they see enough more stuff, then maybe they will subscribe. But yeah, I agree with Josh.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a ton of people convert because a lot of people are probably listening in their car or while they're mowing the lawn or something, and they're not going to stop and pull out their phone and go check out YouTube.
So
Yeah.
would it be better in that case to just have all the episodes be on the podcast?
You might want to do 2 feeds and have one be like the best of, and just tell people you're not going to post more than 3 or 4 videos on that one a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like if you want all the other ones, then you can go subscribe to the other channel, the other podcast. But then you still want that call to action, right? So it's,
Yeah, I would like to split test it between the email list and YouTube and see what gets which would get more action.
Oh, getting people to like opt into the email list or getting them to opt into YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. I guess if you have the choice, the email list is probably better. Well, you could do both, actually. Okay, so I think maybe you're onto the solution, Josh, which is go here and get on the email list where you'll get. Well, we'd have to make it so that the email list, so we are sending out the podcast list or episodes, maybe RSS feed, and so that you never miss one, and you can choose, because then they could look and see which ones they wanted to listen to that were on YouTube.
Yeah. What we actually need to do too is incorporate into our Plinko machine. We need to have social media pitch sequences in there too, so we build the YouTube channel from the email list.
Yeah.
So, because like once we have them, we might as well. There's no harm. What people do wrong is they have their welcome email. I hate this. They have their welcome email and they're like, "Hi, I'm John Sonmez," and then they're like, "Now go to Facebook and follow me on Facebook. Go to Twitter and then tweet this hashtag and then follow me on YouTube." And it's like it. And I've seen the stats and it's like the first link gets an 8% click-through rate. The second link gets like a 1% click-through rate, and then everything else is just complete noise. It's like like one in 100 people click on it, or no, 1 in like 500 people click on it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No,
so
you gradually build them into the.
Yeah, so like having like one call to action, having specific emails designed to convert them to specific social media platforms makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely play with it though and see what gets you where.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I was also thinking, from a sponsorship perspective too. Like, I mean, we don't have any sponsorship on Simple Programmer Podcast right now, but when we do add sponsorship, if we do, I mean, 3 episodes a week is nice for sponsorship because you get a lot of downloads. But if we have like 15 episodes a week, we can command a pretty sizable sponsorship revenue, and it doesn't cost anything extra to do that. The other thing I was thinking about was making a video podcast. I got to look into. Someone had told me that where to set up the video podcast, but
I know this good site that was thinking about adding video, but now it's like a 404. So.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah.
But there's like a couple of video podcast hosting services that then you just put the YouTube videos right up there. The other thing would be to possibly put content on Vimeo or something. I don't know. There's more stuff you could do with video too.
Yeah. Yep. There's also what are they called? There's another video platform that allows you to put like calls to action in the videos and stuff like that. So it'll actually
Wistia.
Wistia, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with Wistia is though it's mostly like it's designed for like videos that you would host on your site that you would
Yes.
put the
Yeah.
calls to action in.
Yeah, that's
So-
true.
And so it's like I thought about potentially like using Wistia, putting the content there, and then putting the blog post, like video blog posts, and then putting the embedded video from Wistia there, and then having a opt-in. The only problem with that is that it's like you're sort of cannibalizing your YouTube audience, which there's like YouTube is like a machine. Once you get that machine rolling
Yeah.
down the hill, then you pick up people naturally, whereas yeah, so I think it's better to just have everything live on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Apparently, the next 30 minutes
Yeah.
of our show is just going to be Chuck saying, "Yep."
Yep.
Well, yeah. Anyway. So today is also my 11th wedding anniversary. So
Awesome.
So
She's put up with
why
me for a long
are you
time.
spending time with us?
because my wife's at the elementary school.
Okay, that's fair.
So yeah, we have plans tonight.
Well, congratulations. That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
It'll be 15 years for us on May 4th.
Cool. So you got married on Star Wars Day?
We did before it was called Star Wars Day, but we're quite happy that it ended up being Star Wars Day.
So you're beating me by like a couple of months because I'll be 15 years in August.
Nice.
Or wait, is it 16?
Oh no.
I really just say that.
You're doing this publicly, right?
Yeah.
2001. See, I know year. 2001.
Yeah, 2001 is 15
Yeah.
years. That's
Yeah.
the same as us, 2001.
Yeah, that'll be 15 this year. Yeah, okay. I know. We have the worst luck of anniversaries. Like we're always moving or like traveling or doing something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll be moving next week. Hopefully, if everything goes well. The loan people have been pissing me off. Like I constantly am calling up like and telling them, "Do you need anything from me?" And they're like, "No." And then they send me this list of all this stuff. They're like, "You didn't provide a."
Yeah.
I've been getting like downright hostile, like I've been turning on project management mode. I'm like, okay, open up the email. Okay, now I want you to check the email and download the attached PDF. Now, before we get off the phone, look at that PDF. Does that have everything that you need from me? Are all the boxes checked like they're supposed to be? So you're telling me that 100% you agree that I have provided you everything that you've requested. Is that correct? No, I want you to say it because this call is being recorded. You told me that when you first called me. So tell me that. Is it 100%? It is. Okay, then. So there's no reason why you should come back tomorrow and say that I didn't provide you something and it's not your fault why the loan isn't closing on time, right? Okay, just want to make sure we have this on the record.
And then the next day, your phone rings.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But I'm like, you don't know who you're dealing with.
Man, it makes
Not only
makes
do I
me
have every document in Evernote, but like I will follow up like.
makes me extremely glad that we used the mortgage company we did. They're like, oh yeah, we just need this, this, and this. Oh yeah, okay, just sign these things electronically. Oh, if you could find this, that'd be great. But otherwise, we'll find it for you. Seriously,
yeah.
they went and dug out history that we had no documentation for from when we bought the house 10 years ago. They called the previous mortgage company and the title company and the realtor and they did a crap ton of work for us. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, my loans are fairly complicated considering
Yeah.
that they have to like source all the information and they're like have to know everything about every single property I own and then
Yep.
all the bank
yeah.
accounts and businesses and everything. So
Right.
it gets complicated, but still, I've got like
Is
all
it-
the data.
Did you have to get a jumbo loan then too? Like-
Mhm.
Okay.
But there's not a rate hit. My rate is
Okay.
like 3.25 on it, so.
That's great.
Yeah, in fact, there is a rate reduction because there's like this special promotion, and you get a bigger reduction when you have a jumbo loan. So I was like, okay,
Oh, sweet.
but yeah, movers are supposed to show up on the 10th, and then that my car any time now, someone will be coming to pick up my car. They don't give you exact dates on this stuff, so it's on Craigslist like crazy. Yeah, I was
They
dealing
just
with people
pull
on.
it onto a truck and ship it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but dealing
Interesting.
with people on Craigslist is such a. I don't understand people on Craigslist that shop on Craigslist. Especially, this is what I don't understand. I don't understand the people that like you're selling like a $20 end table,
Yeah.
and they drive for like an hour and 20 minutes to get there, and then they think they're going to negotiate. I'm like,
Yeah.
how far did you come? Oh, it took you an hour and 20 minutes, and you wanted to get it for $15? No, I think I should charge you $25. Like, you're not going to say no. Do you understand how leverage works?
Yeah.
Like, you don't come and negotiate it down after you've driven for an hour and a half. Doesn't work. Doesn't work that way. I'll just say, okay, go back an hour and a half with nothing. Fine.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, so the thing that I always I feel like such a schmuck because every time I do about every other time I do a Craigslist deal, the person shows up and this is the line they give you. It's like, so I'm asking $100 for the thing, and they're like, well, I only have 80, so I'd have to go to the ATM, and I'm always just like, I'll take it. Because
Yeah.
I just want to get rid of it, and I always feel like such an idiot afterwards. Like the last time I sold, I forget what I sold. It was a workbench. It was like and I was asking like $80 for it, I think. And then the guy shows up, and I held it for him. Like he asked me to hold it for him till the morning, and I did. And then he's like, he shows up, and he's like, would you take I think he's like, would you take 60 for it? And he's like, my son took $20 and went to the bar last night and left me an IOU note. And I was just like, I don't really want. I mean, I need to just be more mentally prepared for that because when it happens in the moment, I'm always like, I always just fold like a cheap card table. But yeah.
Oh man.
It's funny. I've gotten pretty good at negotiating with like you gotta like it's all about framing the context of the conversation from the beginning to that like you are the one in charge. And so like when someone texts me on the Craigslist listing, they're like, "Is this thing still available?" I'll say, "Hold on, I'm busy right now. I'll check in a minute."
Nice.
And that just sets it right there. It's like
Nice.
I don't need to sell this thing. Like if you're gonna waste my time, and then I proceed from there. And then like if they ask me any kind of like discount on the thing, I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
That's funny.
Nice.
And so I end up going down like a little bit if they if they
Yeah.
really push for it. But at
I
that
don't.
point, if they push for it, they're buying it. Because if they've like worked hard to negotiate this deal, that's the other thing is like I want them to get some skin in the game. So if I have it listed for 100 and they're like 50 and I'm like 70, they're not coming to pick the thing up. You're gonna wait all day for
Yeah.
them. But if they're like 50 and you're like, no, nope, and they're like, is there anything that you would take lower? And then you say, probably not. And then they say, would you do 90? Like, I guess I could do 90 if you pick it up today. They're coming for it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got $10 off of this.
The way that my wife negotiates is you say, she says 100, you say 50, she says 120, and she just goes up. So at that point, you feel lucky to get back to the original price.
I learned to negotiate. I don't know if I think I told you guys this story once, but like I had this lawyer that my accountant had screwed up, and we were taking him to court during mediation or whatever, and I didn't know anything about. I thought I was a good negotiator until I saw this lawyer and this judge working together to work this guy over, and they like I think it was something like negotiations like started at like $50,000 that we were asking from him, and then they're like, and then he's offers zero. He says no, nothing, right? So at this point, my natural instinct is to be like, okay, let's bring it down to some reasonable number, like 25 or 30 or something, because we're aiming for like 10 or something, like, and they
Yeah.
shot it way up from the beginning. They're like in the 50. They're like, no, 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 if you want 10, let's go 50, right? And the whole idea is just to scare the hell out of them. And then they come back and they're like 45 after his 0. And I was like, that's it. He's just going to walk out. He's not going to play ball, right? He's just gone. And he comes right back at 10.
Nice.
From 0. So I was like, okay, we already hit what we want. And then, I'm like, okay, well, so now we come down to like 30. Like, no, 42 is the next number we give him. They just like did it the whole time until they got to 15. And it was crazy. I was like, wow, I am negotiating. I totally changed my negotiating since that. I was like, okay, I negotiated wrong. Like, you do not yield. You do not come down hardly at all.
Same tactic works with the IRS if you owe back taxes. It really does. My CPA. This is one of the reasons I love my CPA. My financial advisor used to work for my CPA, and he told me a story about when he worked for her, about how they had done an audit on somebody and found through their estimates that this guy owed somewhere in the neighborhood of like $30,000 in back taxes. And so the IRS comes in to negotiate the settlement. And the IRS says, well, it's looking pretty bad based on everything that we found in your records. We think you owe around $15,000. And so already this guy is thinking he's going to pay about half of what the CPA told him. Well, the CPA then proceeds to rip the IRS guy in half and gets the final payment down to less than $8,000.
Wow.
On what the CPA estimated would be $30,000 in back taxes, and that was it. That was the end of the story. The guy paid his $8,000 or whatever it was, and the IRS was happy, and everybody went home.
Yeah.
That is negotiation.
Nice.
It's not negotiation unless there is blood.
Yes.
John, we're gonna have to do an email or two based off of that. I was actually thinking that the negotiation thing would be a good tripwire type of product. We could do like a little 30-minute video and sell it for $7.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of aspects to it that I think would be, and it plays into the confidence thing as well, right? Like, when someone comes in confident and room ownership, right? Like one like little tactic is like you go into a room and you
flip the table.
Yeah, you flip the table. You're like, I know that a lot of you you might be looking for a win-win situation, but that ain't gonna happen here today.
It was funny because there was a I saw this on Hacker News. I saw Patio 11, Patrick McKenzie had a video about how to negotiate your salary, and it was really funny to watch people rationalize their discomfort. Like, nobody wants to do that. It's an uncomfortable thing to do, and so people were just rationalizing, like, oh, I'm happy, I'm fine, and they're like, do you realize that, like, by not doing this 10-minute thing that's uncomfortable, you're giving away $200,000?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
is there any trivial task that you wouldn't do for $200,000? And the guy's like, well, it's all about work-life balance. And they're like, yes, but you can still have the work-life balance and the $200,000. Like, he's like, well, I don't want it. And it's like, give it away. I mean, like, seriously.
I think it's funny. I mean, it's ironic. Like, I always used to talk to people about, like, that same thing. I don't negotiate, whatever. I'm like, it's not worth the time. It's not worth the hassle. And I'm like, but you are sitting here like with a McDonald's coupon that you clipped. What?
Right.
You're trying to save $1? Really? Like, the same person will be clipping coupons and going to the grocery store and saving like $20 off their grocery bill if they've like spent an hour clipping coupons. And I'm like, you could have made all that. You could have done. All you had to do was negotiate your salary, and then you could have not cared about clipping coupons, and you would have still came out ahead. And how much hours of time would you have gotten back? It's crazy. But I mean, but it's a logical like we all are susceptible to that,
Right.
like that
I
thing.
mean,
That's why I have that $5 rule. Is like
if you spend an hour negotiating, and it earns you $100,000, you just earned $100,000 an hour.
Yeah. And respect as well, which makes a huge difference. Like so. Yeah, we should do a negotiating. We've got a Trello board with like 200 ideas of what we.
Yeah, we have like. Yeah, we sat at traffic and conversion. We sat there on the bench and like just both of us were just punching cards into Trello on our phones, and I had my laptop, and we just it was a little out of control.
Yeah, we've got a lot of ideas on there. But. So I'm also looking. Oh, it looks like we've solved the problems of the attacks on WordPress.
Oh yeah.
There's like if you guys ever have the problem of, just let me know and I can fix it. I was also looking at. I want to look at potentially something like Pagely for hosting, like where they just host the whole thing for you. But I got to test it out. I don't know if it'll be faster. Just for the lack of hassle, but
yeah, we got attacked pretty good actually. So I had my Linode got attacked, and then so I ended up I'm on DigitalOcean finally, and that's mostly working now. And then it was just and then that was getting attacked. So my VA put in a bunch of stuff to protect that. And then Simple Programmer, 10 Steps, and Dev Career Boost were all getting pummeled. So, good grief.
And who fixed Josh's site? Bam!
Well, who's
the master Linux administrator in the house?
It's still broken though. It crashed on me. What's frustrating is that I'm getting that stupid database error establishing database connection thing that we had with the Entreprogrammers site for the longest time, and there are just like threads and threads of furious people trying to get DigitalOcean to help them fix this problem, and no one seems to know what the problem is. We added, so my server didn't have any swap space, so it was running out of memory, and that was part of the issue. But it still happens, and I don't know. It only happened this time. It only happened on one of my sites, which was weird.
It happened after a long time, so you're still running out of memory. You eventually run out of swap space. You've got like a memory leak or something that's.
Yeah, but I mean, even if I get a bigger server, I'm still going to have that same problem. But what's really frustrating right now is that I've tried 2 different site monitoring services, and neither of them detected that as an error. I didn't get notified. Like, I got an email from somebody who tried to sign up for my Sublime newsletter and got an error message, and that's how I found out about it. So, like, it was down for like 6 hours, and I didn't get pinged. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because it's like a 503 error or something. So.
It might be if it's it should have been like on a 5-minute schedule at least at the worst.
Yeah. It was down for like overnight. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Should we do our thoughts and wrap it? Oh.
I have one more thing that I wanted to ask about. So
Do it.
I tried to reach out to the 2 bookkeepers that the pair of you sent me links to on Upwork.
Okay.
And neither of them replied, so I posted the job, and now I'm starting to interview people, and I'm trying to figure out if there are any things that I should be asking that I'm just not thinking about. So.
Let me send you something. I've got a lead for you. I just did a podcast with a guy that runs a bookkeeping service for entrepreneurs. He has an entrepreneur podcast. If I had known about him, I probably would have just used his service. But he, of course, contacted me after.
Yeah, that would be good.
As far as questions, I mean, well, are you doing the bookkeeping yourself right now?
Yeah, I have been.
So I felt like, well, what I did was I recorded a screencast of me going over my books and what I was doing,
Hmm.
and I asked for someone to tell me what I was doing wrong and what was right and to improve it,
Hmm.
basically.
Okay.
John spent a couple, like several days or a week, I think, right, setting it up yourself,
Hmm.
and
So
then.
that I would have good questions, so that like it was kind of a like racking a shotgun type of thing where if you couldn't do a better job than I was doing, then there's no way you're
Right.
going to even apply.
Yeah. Because you'll get a lot of people who are software jockeys. They just know QuickBooks, and that's not what you need. You don't need somebody to process transactions for you. You need somebody to tell you how to set up QuickBooks properly for your business.
Yep.
Take a look at that link I sent you. That's the guy I was just on his
Yeah.
podcast. He seemed to be
Yeah.
pretty good.
From my experience, Chuck, the biggest things have been um, what I found with bookkeepers I've worked with. I'm on my third one. Is that like lack of communication. A lot of them seem to want to be on a schedule where they only check in on you like once a month.
Uh-huh.
And so you'll ask them like you'll have like you'll send them 5 or 10 questions over the course of a month, and then like you won't hear anything from them, and then someday they'll be like, oh, it's Josh's hour today. And they'll like
Right.
answer questions, and it's like they want to be on like a really low maintenance schedule. I don't know if they're super part-time or what. So like lack of communication, and then the other thing is lack of assertiveness. I've had a heck of a time finding someone who'd be willing to like sit down and go, okay, you're doing this wrong. This is how you should be doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
What they do is they come in and they're like, well, how do you want it to be?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a bookkeeper. I'm not an accountant. I know nothing about this. What I want is to not get audited by the IRS, and I want to be able to see, a few numbers at a glance. So
Right.
help me do that. And you end up with people that are. I think it's just like it's a natural thing. Like if you're drawn to bookkeeping, you're not really like a take charge kind of person. That's probably stereotyping, but I think.
Oh man, and
probably,
you might be a girl. You might be.
Oh no! I didn't say that.
Oh, here we go.
John's drawing me into his web of sexism.
How about those male nurses?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's just like there's no. This has been a pet peeve of mine working with QA over the years as well. Is like, as a developer, I want you to tell me the tests that I should be passing. I don't want me to have to sit there and like dictate to you all the tests that you should write
Right.
for my code, because I'm just going to tell you how to test it so that it works. And the bookkeepers it's been the same way. So, yeah, those are the things. So what I did was with my last round, or no, what I did with when I hired my VA, it was kind of the same deal. Like I wanted somebody who was going to be more proactive. So I asked them to tell me. I asked them questions where I had them tell me about a situation where they had to do that, and then just kind of gauge people based on their responses.
Also, the other thing is, I'd say too, with that is, well, I'd say two things.
What are the 3 most common errors you help your clients fix, or you see small time entrepreneurs like me making that you would help me fix? Something like that. Because either that or the video approach that John did worked really, really well too.
Yep.
And I'd say also know what you want. Like you don't have to know, because to what Josh was saying, you don't want to tell someone how to keep the books. But if you want to tell them, I want to know this about my business. This is the purpose, right? And then if you have that clear, I think then you can get a very good feel. It's like, can you give me this information? I want to know how many. Like for us, I was like, like a lot of bookkeepers were like, okay, well we can get you the product, your gross sales. I'm like, no, I want it broken down by product. Can you do that? If you can't, then we're going to pass, because this is what we want. We want it broken down this way. We want this information about our business. And then the other thing I would say is, and this is my default hiring strategy now, is hire people for jobs and be ready to. You're always on trial. Like
Yeah.
I'm hiring you for the job, and I'm ready to fire you because it's just a trial. It's not a fire, right? And we did this with the bookkeeper for Simple Programmer. Is we had the other two backups, and we're like, okay,
Right.
well we're going to run this guy. We're not going to run all three tests at the same time. If you
Right.
can
John
run,
literally has a contractor go to their house and install a trap door under their desk, and he has his finger on that button. There are alligators in the water below.
but yeah, but that worked extremely well for getting Rodrigo, like, because the video
Yeah.
editors, like, I mean, he passed the
Yeah.
gauntlet of like, I think I hired 8 to 10 people to actually pay them to edit videos,
Hmm.
like the same video, and then it was like clear that this guy was
Yeah.
one of the top ones, and he could
Well,
do the job.
there were like 3 that were good. I think we looked at 10. There were 3 that were good, and 2 of them were super expensive.
Yeah.
And Rodrigo was like, he was we liked his communication style too and everything. So
So I'd say yeah. So know what you want. Ask the questions like Josh said, and then be ready to like consider that the first person you hire is a trial, and have the backups and see what they do. And if you don't like them, if they're not producing, then just go to the next one. And
the other thing I've discovered with bookkeeping is that for me personally, it was not worth my time to the way that my money comes in. It was not worth my time to try to have my bookkeeper process transactions for me. So it takes me literally 2 minutes a week. I go in every Saturday when I do my weekly review. I just go in to QuickBooks and I go, okay, that was an Amazon purchase. That was a books.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
If I try to to make the bookkeeper do that for me, I will have to forward her an email and I will have to explain to her which category this should go in.
Right.
So I set up as much as I could with just rules in QuickBooks, so that gets tagged automatically, and then the other 10 things that come in, I just boom, 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 do them, and I'm done. Versus playing email back and forth. So she just does now. My bookkeeper does my monthly reconciliations, and she puts in all my like transaction fees and all that stuff, and a couple other things, and then I do the actual categorizing of things, which is really easy to do.
Yeah.
So it's easier for you because you already know what everything
Whatever
is.
you know
And
what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
my deal mostly is just I mean, I can set rules for probably 80% of what I buy. Yeah, it's the reconciliations. I don't get it, and I don't really want to get it.
yeah,
And,
yeah, I don't get it either.
how to categorize it when I pay myself, how to categorize a couple of other things.
This is good. This is a good question, actually. So have them explain to you reconciliations and teach it to you.
Yeah.
Right? Because one, you should know this. It'll
Uh-huh.
help you to hire people. And two, if they can explain it to you, then they know it. If they
Yes.
can't and they're stumbling and they can't make it so it makes sense to you, then it's probably not
Yeah.
the person. They're not going to be able to communicate with you.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah, it might also be good to ask for their recommendation on like cash versus what is it accrual, John? Is that the other?
yeah,
Yeah.
cash-based versus accrual. You should be doing accrual.
Yeah, I think so too, but that would be a good litmus test question.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep.
Because yeah, if they tend towards the cash side, they're also going to not be. They're going to be afraid of the accrual basis, I guess.
Right.
So.
Yeah, they'll be a little less sophisticated because I think most people do cash based.
Yeah, I do.
So why do you recommend he do accrual based then?
Because his business is a lot more complicated than mine.
Accrual base is basically this. I mean, the difference is just simply cash base means what the bank account says. That's what we record.
Mm-hmm.
Derek, yours probably would make sense to be cash, at least right now.
Except that now that you've got the yearly subscriptions.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But accrual means like when the income was realized or the expense was realized, that's when we count it on the books. And the nice thing about accrual basis is, and the reason why I was adamant that Simple Programmer has to be accrual basis is because I want to know, like, we're getting paid for advertising that we did 3 months ago, or affiliate payments come out 3 months later, right? So I want to know that month what is going on
Yes,
for
that
that
makes
month.
sense. How
I
much
don't
did
want
I
to
earn this
know.
month?
Yeah.
Not how much did I get paid this month?
Yep.
Exactly, right. So yeah,
Yep.
especially if you do any kind of, contracts where you're doing consulting and
Yeah.
you're billing out and then you're getting paid later, that doesn't
Hmm.
give you a very good pulse of the business, so and if you're doing
Yeah.
accrual, you can still get cash-based accounting from accrual. So you can see what your cash flow is,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to having the accurate information of the business. So I would do the accrual.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Lots of ideas.
All right, thoughts for the week. I have one, I guess. It's that take that 10 minutes and have that hard conversation or do that difficult thing, which you guys talked about earlier. And in the spirit of actually doing that, I emailed that designer back already and said, sorry, I'm not going to be able to move forward with this right now because I just got my head ripped apart by my entrepreneurial group. And they are correct about my history of paying for things like this. So
That's
Well,
what
that's
that
cool,
was.
Derek. That was tough to go
that was
through.
not
So
an easy email to send.
Yeah.
It's easier to just spend the damn money even though you don't need to because you've already started down the path and it's uncomfortable to have that conversation.
Yeah.
That's one thing too. Like we got to keep that in this group. By the way, it's like it's
Yeah.
hard also to like say, Derek, don't do this, right? But the value of this group is that we give the honest truth,
Yes.
like even though it's sometimes painful. So like if I'm doing something stupid, guys, tell me I'm doing something stupid. Like
Yep.
just because once if we lose that, we lose the value of this group, in my opinion.
I agree. The other thing that I'd like to see a little bit more of maybe in this group is um, when you tell me to do something and I agree to do it,
Follow up.
follow up, or if I come back later and say I haven't gotten the results that I should have gotten from doing what I was supposed to have done, call me
Yeah.
out and make sure that I did it.
Yeah.
this is where Chuck starts to say,
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so
Yep.
I'm completely drawing a blank here. So
I've got one. So mine, I guess I'll make mine around pain. Is that pain is an opportunity to get down to the depth of your character. So I made a very conscious effort while I was in probably the most extreme and lengthiest pain that I've gone through of maintaining my integrity and character, not snapping. I didn't snap at anyone the entire time, and I kept a cool head, and which is not my like. It's difficult to do, but I kept on reminding myself that if I want to be like who you are when things are going well and easy is not who you are. Who you are when you have pain and things are going bad, that's who you are. And so every time you get something bad that happens to you and you have pain in your life, it's an opportunity. It's the only chance you get to really do the kind of soul work, the depth work of your character to build that. And so if you want to become something, you can't there's only so much work you can do on your field in the good times. Some of that work has to be done in the hard times. So if that it's an opportunity, and that's how I viewed it this week. And I think that's it was a lesson for me to learn and to realize, and I'll take this forward in the other times that I have struggles or pain.
all right, I got something here. So if you say you're serious about doing something and you're not blocking time into your calendar to do it every day, then you're probably not that serious. I've been so I am working on getting a couple more blog posts together for Entrepreneur.com, and so what I decided to do was to just block time in my calendar every morning. So I'm already doing my daily emails. I'm super consistent with that. I like that. I'm sticking with that. So I'm tacking on to that now. I have a specific time slot that I do that every morning, and then at the end of it, when I'm done with that, I'm doing 10 minutes of work on the blog post just to get myself into the habit of it.
Yeah.
And it's working really, really well. It's getting my head, you have to be. I had this experience when I tried to batch up all my emails. I did them all on Monday, and it was great for the rest of the week. I didn't have to think about it. But then the next week, I hadn't been thinking about it for a week, and so I was completely out of the mindset. I had no ideas. I
Yeah,
was
that happened to
completely
me
out
with
of the
Watch Me
flow.
Code when I
Yeah.
got 3 months ahead in my screencast, and so I took 3 months off, and then I was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm finding that doing just 10 minutes a day, I'm making way more progress on it than if I were to try to block out a couple of hours and do it all at once. Eventually, I want to get to that point too, but I think right now this is a much more productive way to go.
Yep. Yeah, for me, I think really the last little while has just come back around to focus. You know, I can only really focus on one major thing at a time. I mean, I can do little things for other stuff, but I tend to get the most done when I'm focused on those things. So, you know, this last week has just been focused on the emails, and I've gotten a ton done there. Gotten a whole bunch of people signing up for the lists and things like that. You know, this next week I'm probably going to be focusing on finding a bookkeeper. I have a few other things on my list, but you know, just having that focus, just you know, making sure that I'm getting one major thing complete, if I can, in a week. And a week seems like a good time horizon to do that. That seems to be when I benefit the most.
Nice. Chuck, one thing that's been helping me lately with the focus thing is picking out the couple core metrics that I'm going to track and tracking them every day. Like right now, the two things that I'm tracking are three things. So the overall conversion rate on Simple Programmer. So that is like of all the people who came, how many signed up for the list. The daily subscriber counts, which I want to get over 100 a day. That's my target. And then the dollars per day in revenue to kind of even out the bumps of having 29 days in February and 31 in March type of things. So those are the three things that I'm tracking, and I'm just keeping my focus on those. Like, it's really helps me prioritize tasks. Like, is this task going to help me with any of these three things? No. Well, then it's going in the ideas Trello board, not the current sprint.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
Automation for the win.
Did you see my light come on, John? Yeah. Yeah, I've been using these. I got the Lux remote control lights, or the LED automation ones. And so we're supposed to be off the podcast now, so my other light came on.
All right.
Awesome.
They turn off at night too when I'm supposed to go upstairs.
That was the wrap it up sign that just got held up.
Yep.
All right, guys. Next week,
Alrighty.
I will be talking to you from an empty house. Is everyone going to be here next week? Do we know of?
I believe so.
All right, cool. All right.
Alrighty. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.